Wow, you're connected.
Connection away. No, I'm just.
Dude, you're the only one connected. Do not
Okay.
shit on my Wi-Fi.
Okay, come on.
Okay, we're good. Yeah.
Check.
Hello and welcome to the 5th edition of our show we call Behind the Sync. The plan is to host a few casual chats where we talk anything and everything about music industry, the DJ trends, labels, festivals, parties, whatever. So apart from us asking questions, we would like you guys to drop us some questions, asking Stu, asking the Kitchen Sink boys, whatever you need to know. We welcome Stu.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, as Stu, we've been meaning to do this for a while. In fact, we wanted to do this even the last time when we did Julian's Place. I've always wanted to have your opinion on certain things, and since you come from a whole journalism background with music and you work with a lot of... Anyway, a little bit about you, and then you can take it forward and expand about that. You've been a music journalist, you've been part of quite a few, whether it's online or it's print publications, and I just read through a few things, which is, of course, you were the editor for Infusion, and after that you've been hooked up with Dubai Night,
Yeah.
Trommel's
the current love of my life.
And then I also saw one more where you, it was another kind of EQ TV or something where I saw about it. So apart from being a journalist, Stu's also a DJ. He is the resident DJ of Analog Room, and he also does a lot of other shows around town. But today we're going to pick your brain on your other side, which is you being a music critic and a nightlife critic. So just give us a little bit about yourself, what you've been up to in that side of it.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for the lovely intro. Appreciate it. Starting what I'm currently doing and working back, I'm currently editor and content manager for Trommel Music. Big ups to Luca and Erasmo, the guys that run Trommel, and they do a great job of shining a light on minimal music and really underground stuff. It doesn't normally get a lot of great press.
Sure. Is this based out of, as in where are these guys based out of?
So Erasmo is in London and Luca is in Italy.
Okay. And
Somewhere. Sorry guys, I don't know where it is exactly. But a lot of love to you guys.
Yeah, but as of now, the projects that you're involved with, rather, if I can call it a project, Trommel, Dubai Night, EQ TV, Ibiza Voice, all this is current, right?
So Trommel is and EQTV is the only ones that are current at the moment.
All right. Okay.
Ibiza Voice ended for one reason or another. Same with Dubai Night.
Okay.
EQTV is is the longest standing one. That's been about 9 years now.
Nice.
And that's a Glasgow-based website and blog, and audio-visual recording house as well. So that was 9 years ago I started with them.
Wow.
So I don't do as much stuff anymore, but it's a similar blog.
So what is your role with these guys presently? I know you. We will talk about Infusion later, but with these guys online, what is your role? What do you do with Trommel and EQTV?
So for Trommel, originally it started out as me just being a contributor.
Okay.
They advertised on their website, and I think it was maybe just Facebook actually, looking for writers. So it took me a long time because they're so well respected in quite a niche market. It took me a while, and I was like, shan't I? Because at the time I was doing a lot of different stuff.
Okay.
And I wasn't sure whether I could give them as much headspace as they needed. But I got in touch with them, and very quickly I was really surprised at how quickly they handed over a lot of responsibility to me, and it's just been a great fit.
So we've got a lot of, when I say young, we've got a lot of young listeners. So it's quite good to know that Facebook works. So yeah, if you're actually looking for something, Facebook is a good medium still to connect to people, to connect to people in the industry. So yeah, it still works.
Yeah, for sure, and exactly like that. It's don't be afraid to reach out to artists, labels. Because I've found that even just since working with Trauma, maybe it's just the genre itself, that people are very, very open to accepting friend requests and discussing their studio, their productions. And you don't get that in a lot of genres, especially at the top tier, in like possibly EDM, because they're so untouchable.
Yeah. Now let's get in a little bit about how did you get into being what do you call your line of work? I keep calling it music journalism. Is that the right word? Are you only writing about music and clubs and nightlife, or do you do anything else? How do you?
I would say definitely what I'm doing at the moment is definitely music journalism.
Yeah.
Previously with
And that's the right word.
I would say so. Yeah. I mean you're creating content and a lot of the time I'm researching. You can't know it all. Even if it's your chosen field, you can't know it all. So research is a big thing, and it's always been a big thing in journalism.
And when did you get into this? Like when were you? Because for a long time, to be honest, till you joined Infusion, I didn't realize you came from that background. It was only then I kind of like, oh wow, okay, you do have that background to you. Because until that time, I think I've always known you only in like met you in clubs and parties. So I always knew you were a DJ, but I didn't know you came from that background. So when did this happen? Like,
pretty much college. I studied sound production at college, and that's why I moved to Edinburgh, which was a long time ago now. But it's I had a passion for writing in school, and then obviously music, and it kind of all just dovetailed together. I don't have any formal education in journalism or writing. It's all self-started. Yeah, definitely. If you've got a passion, don't be afraid to really do your best and push it.
Because that was one of the things that we wanted to also touch on, which you're speaking about it now, is like how does one actually get into it? Like, is it just like I mean, obviously you just got into it without any formal sort of. So like it's quite interesting for, again, like I said, there are a lot of young listeners out there, and they always keep on asking about how do I do this, and like what do I do, what's the right way to do it. So it's quite interesting to know that I guess if you have a passion for something and if you're good at it, that's literally what it is. It's like a combination of talent and the passion. I think that drives it there.
And also, if you've got the opportunity and the platform in which to develop your skills, which I've been lucky enough to have. But that's been like 9 years I've been doing it and building up experience. And I find that education it can sometimes be superseded by experience.
Of course. So, would you be able to think back when was your first kind of write-up or
first gig,
so to speak? Who did you write for? Or what was it?
I had a radio show back in my college days, and at the time I was playing a lot of gigs in Edinburgh and Glasgow. So every major artist coming through Edinburgh and Glasgow, I knew the promoters, so I had access to them. And again, in this day and age, you'll find yourself, you need to position yourself. If you want to be a DJ, in most cases, you need to also be a producer. For me, I was only just getting into production, and I thought this was another string to my bow. So it started off doing interviews with big DJs, and then I got approached by EQTV to join their team. And then
Any interviews that you remember from the top of your head? When you said big DJs, I was like,
which is like stands out.
I mean,
it stands out.
Okay, well, I don't mean it doesn't have to be a big name, but is there a particular interview that you were really stoked about and going, wow, I'm actually going to have a conversation with this person? Or
there's a couple. Tim Green when he was when he was just coming up. Also. Carl Cox was quite a big one.
Wow, nice. How was he as a person?
Very, very, very nice guy. Very, very sweet. You can tell he's done it a million times before. So everything was like. Perfect.
So this was which year? The Carl Cox was which year? Approx.
Next question, please.
This was early 2017. Yeah, early 2017.
No, well, this was Edinburgh, so I don't know, maybe 2012.
Okay, that's not.
Yeah, it's not too far.
I was thinking he's gonna say early 90s.
No, just don't test my memory because it's just bad now.
Oh, that must be that. I think that's quite interesting. Like, so I mean, if you're gonna interview somebody like Akal Cox, I mean, you also probably would enjoy it more because he's got so much of information, and like you said, he's done this a million times, so he knows exactly what to say.
But what do you ask
Yeah.
a person that's been interviewed a million times? That's the really, really difficult thing, and that's experience that you
Make it what do you say, kind of fun, but also not the regular questions like, okay, so what was your best gig you played or something?
Yeah, exactly.
And you can see them
Such a
just,
lame question to a big
you ask that question and you can just see them dying behind their eyes. They're like, okay, so you just asked me that again. But yeah, you live in that. Nick Warren was also a really, really good one.
Nice.
That was back in my hometown, Dundee.
This was when the time when he just got off his global. I mean, he was still reeling off his global underground days. Or
It was while I was still in Edinburgh, and I went back and done that interview with him. But he was just so down to earth, and he is such a huge artist.
Yeah.
And for him to speak, he was talking about fishing. He was talking about playing for the Rumba Club, which is one of Scotland's biggest.
Yeah.
It's one of the world's longest club nights.
Yeah.
So it was nice. Yeah.
And in very short words, like how do you kind of prep for something like this? You go like, because okay, some artists you know, some artists you don't, but you just put there to kind of dive into things. So what is the prep like?
I would, if I'm going to be interviewing someone that's been interviewed a million times before, I always read their most current interviews, so you're not automatically just retreading for someone. Because there's nothing more frustrating than someone that's not done their homework.
Sure.
So I hope you've got loads of nice notes in there.
We have not done our homework. We just showed up.
I mean, in this case, it was like we did just a little bit of research. After that, it was more like we're just going to wing on whatever you say. You know, it was just having a chat with you and just picking your brain on a few things. So it was more like in turn you can question us.
Yeah, we can have a chat together. Yeah, of course.
And if everybody who's watching, feel free to
If everyone's
drop in
watching,
some comments. Yeah, we're all here.
I mean, he's the man if you want to know anything about journalism. Like I said yesterday in my post, I mean, if there's anything you need to know about, how to get around, and if you're starting in music journalism, this is the guy. So anyway, I wanted to ask you, since the time you moved to Dubai, what is your opinion on music journalism in the UAE? I mean, where do you... yeah, I know.
Well, it's not great. I'm going to be honest.
I was just gonna say, let's all be honest here, and it's like, it's not great.
From my point of view, I've come up against some.
Is there even a music journalism?
Yeah, I mean, when I was at Infusion Magazine, Chow gave me free rein to really do whatever I want. Obviously, keeping the clients happy as well, which goes without saying with any publication, digital or printed. Hype Magazine with Leslie as well. We also had clients to look after, but again, that didn't drive the content, which was great. Those two publications apart. It's client based, it's client driven. I'm not going to elaborate too much,
for sure,
but read between the lines, it was client driven, and therefore there wasn't room for much in the way of artistic license or vision.
Sure.
Which is a shame.
Before Infusion, which is the print, Infusion also has an online, but heavily print, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Was there any other print that you were involved with before in UAE?
In Dubai...
I know you were part of, you were doing something with the Dubai Nights.
Dubai Night was purely digital as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Purely
so there's
digital.
nothing print before.
Not off the top of my head.
Again,
you're putting me on the spot with my terrible memory. Not to my knowledge.
No.
Okay. Sorry.
No.
Looking right down the camera if I forgot.
No. But you've had a solid. looked you up. You have a solid collabs. Yeah. Now, somewhere down the line, we are going to get into print versus digital, but I'll leave that for later.
I was just
I'll leave that for later. But for now, it's just in general your experience. I just wanted to know, for my curiosity, whether you were involved in anything print, which I didn't know about. I only know you from Infusion, so I just asked that question.
Anything currently that people should be following in Dubai?
Print-wise?
Yeah, print-wise, is there anything?
Print-wise, when it comes to certainly music, there's not there much at all. There's the mainstream Time Out and What's On, but again, I encountered this when I was more heavily involved in analog room, trying to secure press for the club and also Mutech. Is that it's too niche. It's too niche, but.
Which I guess now brings us, Adam's got the fancy notes, I don't have any notes with me. But I think it goes back to now the whole conversation about, I mean, we can all say right now that probably print media is dead. Like, we can
It's
say
dying.
we can,
It's dying.
Yeah. So I guess now with that, I mean, now there is no region specific in terms of like if you're going to follow music or content, it doesn't have to necessarily be UAE based anymore, and you can now you've got the entire World Wide Web out there, and content is just all over the place. And that was one of the things that I wanted to ask was in terms of content, like how do you get to good content, or where do you now find good content? Because I still think that there are quite a few big players in the market. I mean, between your RAs and your mix mags and things like that. But is there a market now for somebody not as big or don't have the subscriber base to kind of put out good content, and then how do people reach out, or how do you look for something like this?
Well, I think Toronto is quite a very good example of this. The music is purely minimal and very underground music. That niche can be expanded upon so much, because in the time since Toronto has been on the scene, they've raised the profile so big in minimal music that we're now seeing artists like the RPR guys playing in Dubai, and it's getting much bigger. So now with the internet being so wide ranging, that you can't afford to be niche, because you're going to reach, if you promote it and you market it right, then you're going to reach the people that you need to reach, and your market and your fan base is going to grow. So you don't need to be on the ground with the scene. As long as you're informed enough and you build up the relationships with artists, labels, DJs, agencies, that's how you get the exclusive content.
Actually, this is the next question is quite on something that Zico actually came about, the whole how he's getting criticized.
Okay, yeah. I mean, going back to how we were speaking about the client base and all of that. Obviously, we were stressing about the fact that music journalism is where you're at. Essentially, you're a critic. That's what you are, a music critic, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously you DJ as well. So I was just literally to break it down. It's just that since you're gonna be critical about somebody, so when you get up on the decks, do you have that pressure to walk the talk, or you're not essentially?
For sure.
Yeah.
For
So
sure.
like, what do you do to like combat that? Because obviously when you're writing your articles about something, maybe a club, maybe an artist, and you're giving your strong views about it,
Yeah.
and then obviously somebody would have the same views about you. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with that?
Good question. I try not to think about it too much. I've got a close net of people around me that I think like my music. I like the music, and that's the main thing. I enjoy playing it. So if people want to be critical about what I'm playing, then they perhaps might need to look at what they're playing. I'm not overly critical about what other people play.
Okay.
In a larger sense, I'm critical of music, just to write about it, not necessarily say EDM is bad or minimal is great, that sort of thing is what I'm into. I try not to push my views too heavily privately, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And you rarely see me overly posting stuff about the publications that I'm involved in. I try not to put it down
Yes,
people's
in
throats.
fact, like I was saying earlier, it
This is
took
something
me
that-
till infusion to even know that there was that side to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was, yeah. So I kind of get
Some
what
people
you're
need to
saying.
learn more about that and try not to be too high and mighty about their particular type of music. Because I don't just play one style of music. That's why I'm not too critical about other people.
But I guess that's what the internet does to you, right? Because you're in the comfort of your own house, and then all of a sudden you can just how do you say, verbal vomit, so to speak.
Yeah.
You can just spew out.
The keyboard warrior type.
Yeah, and you can just say whatever you want because.
Which is a good thing, and it's also a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, going on this whole down this critical line, I've been in Dubai now, what, 20 years. We've followed a lot of, I've followed a lot of different publications online, whatever. I always think that these kind of aspects kind of make a city better because you guys are the ones are going to tell them, hey man, your music was good, but I didn't like the production. You didn't do much on production. Or, hey man, your production was good, but your curation was bad. I don't find much of that in Dubai. So my question is, how do these guys, because at the end of the day, everybody seems to come out thinking it's a great party. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
For many reasons. It could be because of the music, it could be because of the, maybe even the location. You know, I'm not saying somebody has to bash them, but I'm saying if there is no healthy criticism, how does one grow? Even for my nights in WAP, I never used to have anybody come down to WAP to even check it out. People tell me, hey man, maybe you're not doing it right, this is how you do it. So there's no, I didn't find myself...
Sorry, I got hungry, sorry.
I didn't find myself able to grow. What I'm trying to ask you is that going to, I mean, will that change? Is there a reason why it doesn't happen?
I think, and this happens in every scene, I don't doubt.
Okay.
Some people are maybe too afraid to give accurate feedback.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
will say to you, yes, great, I had a great time, music was amazing,
Yeah.
the night was amazing.
Yeah.
But in reality, there is feedback to be given.
Yeah.
Whether or not they perhaps don't know you well enough,
Yeah.
or whoever it may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, accurate feedback is hard to come by.
And I think that kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think that kind of helps the scene to grow better.
For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
because if we don't have that, everybody's walking away thinking, okay man, I'm just doing a good job. But
Yeah.
no, maybe not. I'm not saying, yes, maybe I walked in and we've had a good time many nights, but
Yeah.
they always you walking out and you're thinking, maybe that could have been a little
Yeah.
different, you know. But if there's nobody telling them that, how does one? And this is I've always realized that this region doesn't have that. I mean, everybody's walking away. Oh, we've had a good show. Or, you know, it's a thing. You know,
Or not willing to really say
Yeah.
one way or another. Sometimes it goes completely the other way, where they've had a great night,
Yeah.
but they're not willing to give that positive feedback because
Or that. Exactly.
Yeah.
It says that.
It goes
I mean,
both ways,
yeah,
all the time.
yeah, all the time. And I kind of felt it was a little bit. I mean, I've even I even sometimes think, how do they rate? We'll get into that later. But how do they rate the best club? Or how do they rate the best DJ? How do they rate it? Because they are not there. So who's
Yeah.
rating them?
What I've found is that Dubai, especially Dubai's scene that I've encountered, that there isn't much of a voice when it comes to the scene. There are certain people that throw the parties. There are certain people that DJ at the parties. There are certain people that are so into the music that they bring the crowds with them.
Yeah.
But the amount of people that do that, or the amount of big groups, they're few and far between.
Sure.
So it's really difficult to get an accurate handle on how well the scene is actually performing.
Exactly, and what I've also realized is because there's a high turnover of people in Dubai, I mean in UAE, a lot of people like for example, let's say there's many times I've actually seen in publications we've actually seen debut of certain DJ, and it's not the case.
Yeah.
The DJ has been there before.
Yeah.
And and be like, what?
It's a debut for that club night.
What do you mean
Your
debut?
debuts every week.
What do you mean debut? And we've actually a friend of mine has even written to a publication saying, "Hey man, that's wrong. It's not the debut.
Okay.
It's been here before." My point being is that I don't know. You're getting into this, and then all you got to do is
There's
just
a question of credibility sometimes that is that you're writing about articles, but and correctly like you said, that are they really attending these nights? Are they following the scene? Do they really know what they're talking about? And because at the end of the day, I'm going to consume this, and I really want to know that whatever it is, that it's authentic, it's credible,
Yeah, exactly. And the same comes from the publications.
Yeah.
If you're prepared to write about the music and about the scene as a whole, you should really be given an opportunity to do that. But there's very few publications that do it accurately and without any sort of money being involved, and it does sway voice of a publication, which I found.
being client driven, but let's not talk about that.
It's a bugbear of mine, and anyone that's close to me will agree.
But the cool thing about what I liked about Infusion is you all were pro electronic music. You all were in the scene.
Yeah.
You all were in the scene. So that was cool. It was cool because you all were in the scene and you guys knew, okay, this is okay, but not to name publications, but there are publications who drop just random. I don't even think the person writing it is into that music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my always been my like. Come on, man. I mean, if you're writing about it, at least do some.
Yeah, or do like proper research.
Yeah, just do a research. Just get into it. Who's who? What? Who's been around? What is it? Who came before? Not just get into it and just put some 5 fancy words and or whatever lines and then make it cool and think that. So that's always been something that I thought that is lacking. And correct me if I'm wrong. It's totally lacking over here. And I don't go by any of the reviews or anything. Yes, Infusion was at one time doing those certain elements where you were doing nights, and I don't know what that division was called of the where you just reviewed different nights.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
About time.
Which was cool. And but apart from that, I literally don't like everybody. You feel that they're just writing about the big clubs are being good. Yes, okay, I get it. It's a big club. They've got a lot of money. They're doing well.
And again, half the time it comes from a client request. Sorry to burst everyone's bubble with publications, but if you're going to get accurate journalism, then you can't pay for it.
Yeah.
Because then it's tainted.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that Dubai and maybe this region is missing. A few different voices that maybe talk about fringe genres and see you see either side of the genre and how it all moves together. But at the moment there's sadly with the demise of Hype magazine, there's really only one voice. But sooner or later, big publications, international publications, Trommel, we started picking up on noctuary parties.
Oh yes. Are you writing anything? I mean, are you giving them the write-up for Noctuary? And
we have done in the past, and as far as I know, I think we will be covering the Thomas Melchior party.
They've been having some solid lineups. That seems really cool.
Yes, it's right up Trommel Street. And also the Deep Light guys. It's a bold move bringing Maher Daniel and Raresh. Hopefully they continue down that route. But these are huge bookings. They're like genre-leading bookings, and it's good. It's great for me. To see.
So are you writing for both these? Are you going to be doing a kind of an article for both these parties? Or?
Nothing is on my slate at the moment.
Okay.
But I want to write something about the Raresh party because I think it's important.
Solid booking.
Unbelievable.
Very solid.
Very solid.
So do you kind of hit up Trommel and say, hey man, there's something happening like this, I would like to write about it, or how does it work? I mean,
that's exactly how it works. Yeah, it's a very, very open relationship with the guys there, and as I said to you before, they've been so open with giving me responsibility, and it's now moved to a point where they wholly trust me, but the reins are still firmly in their hands, because I've been there under a year, or maybe even like 6 months, 7 months, and they've accomplished so much already.
Going slightly, which is related to the journalism part of it, going slightly, which, you know, all of a sudden a lot of publications came out with this whole awards, you know, you know, so best of this, best
He's
of
been
that.
dying to ask this
Yeah.
question.
So I mean, I know from what you're saying, I know how this works. But my question was more that do you even think this is even? Yeah, I think awards in general, this whole awards thing. What is your perception of it? I think all over it's like, oh man, not again, not another awards. That's what everybody's saying, right?
I think in general it's a bit too much like backslapping, because if you take the ARIA Awards, for example, fair enough, total credit to every single person is in the top 100,
Sure.
but if you make it into the top 100, then your fee is inflated.
Yeah, for sure.
And for a scene like Dubai, where costs are inflated anyway, it kind of like kills the scene dead.
Yeah.
Totally dead. And again, it's half the time, especially with mainstream publications, is client-led. It's client-led. I don't know if
So
I'm like...
my question was, do they even need to do this? I mean, why do they need to do this? They can just go about doing what they need to do, whatever their business model is. Why bring in an award?
Content, it's interactive, and that's literally that's the problem, right? Everything is so content driven right now. They need interaction.
No, my question is, do people still care about it?
Yes, you'll be shocked that people
When
actually.
you walk into a venue, like take an average F&B venue for instance, if you walk into a venue and you see the plaques up on the wall and there's all these awards, it's an affirmation of quality. Whether or not it's been paid for or not, that's
He
something
said
different.
it. Well, we didn't. He said it.
I feel like I'm breaking the magician's code right now, and I'm going to get kicked out of the journalism group.
No. I mean, in all fairness, I mean that's what I'm saying. My question was more: is it even worth it? Because I was like always wondering, why does one have to do this? Nobody has to.
It does have value, I think. For everyone concerned, it does have value. Whether or not it's justified is not for me to say.
That's the question.
Yes, it definitely adds value. Whether or not the average diner or drinker or whatever buys into it, it's totally up to them. It's got a place.
I've literally been to, in all these years, I've just been to 2 awards. One was when I was with Om, and they got up for a Jawad Festival. And then the second time was when I was with Group, and they got up for thing. Literally, I've just been there twice. I've not been to a single award ceremony thing. Not for anything else. I mean, it's just that I don't know. My point of view was like somebody hit me up also and said, "Hey man, we want to we'll nominate you, but can you tell your friends to vote?" I was like, that's not the point, right? If you're nominating me, then people should know. I'm not going to tell people go and vote for me, dude. This doesn't work.
On the other side, before I joined Hype Magazine, I got nominated for Producer of the Year, and I was delighted. I was so happy. So for me, nothing changed. Obviously, I didn't win the award because I was making really left field deep house stuff, and I didn't have that much of a DJ profile at the time. But I was delighted.
I didn't know that actually. I did a little bit of research. I didn't know you produced stuff, and I was like, oh.
No, he's around. I've always known him to be a DJ or / producer. It was only till Infusion that I got to know his other side, and that's when
you can actually write more than one sentence.
Actually, I wanted to go back to another question that we were just talking about, how print is dead or the online and stuff like that. But also like I've got like zero attention span, right? So for me to read stuff is just not happening. So I've moved over to watching videos of people watching. Is that how it's going to like now move forward? Because everything is on YouTube and literally our show is like
of course.
and that's what I think how it's going to be moving forward.
It's convenience. Yeah, it's purely down to convenience. Stuff like
But
what's
going
on
back, sorry, the question would be like in terms of like you being a writer and writing stuff. Like how does that now affect you? Because now everybody's moved into like I said, more videos and things like that. Are you going to change or did you have to adapt to this now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the way that I work now compared to when I was writing for print, it's not really changed. The only thing that's really changed is the deadlines. The only thing that's changed, I know. The only thing that's changing is the deadlines and how they're managed and how they're shifted, and that's purely why print is dead or dying, because the deadlines for actually getting your copy and your designs and all to the printing house, it's all really set in stone.
And it's so funny. Besides the print, with the reach and things, like I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, like there was the DVS1 video that was floating around, and it's just so instant. Like everybody starts talking about it, and it's getting picked up, and like I'm like people didn't even know, or probably don't even know who he is, but all of a sudden because it's on your feed, everybody's
you know who he is
talking
now.
about it, and it's just like wow.
And if it was in print, then it probably got missed.
Exactly.
Or
he
it
could
be
have
misconstrued
he could
as
have
well.
said he could have done the interview on print, and it wouldn't have got as much as interaction as it
Yeah,
did.
so much sentiment would have got missed in that interview if it was in print, unless you're really into reading pages and pages of it.
I think even with the video itself, I mean, there was that's also something that I wanted to get into as well. Is obviously again going back to the fact that you make a music critic and things like that. In terms of how the music gets to you, or when you go to a venue, it's very subjective, right? So then does your review then be a little biased on how you look at things? Like in the previous one, I think the interview went towards the club experience and what's a festival and like who likes clubs and festivals, and we were just having a conversation as well. Like sometimes a festival is something else, but when I go to a club, I still like my clubs. But when I say clubs, I mean I'm talking about like if I had to say a good old work place where it didn't matter, there were no flashy lights, there weren't. It wasn't about the decor, it was literally a banging sound system, and that's literally what it was. It was every weekend, how's the sound, is it good? Because that's what I was interested in, and who's playing, literally. Not anything else, I forget the bar deals or the decor, or it didn't matter. It was like, okay, the sound's good, great, this guy's playing, I'm there. But that's who I am.
And that's
so
what you're
obviously,
into.
But now was that, so like even for like writing articles and stuff, then does it become subjective on how you actually enjoy the scene, and do you write that way?
At that point, it really depends on why you're writing the article in the first place. So if you're there to, I don't know if you guys also know, I write for Pro AVL, which is a more pro audiovisual.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay,
Yeah, I've only just started working with them, and they're really great guys as well.
They do they're the only, pretty much one of the only guys who still do print, right?
They do print, but they've got a massive digital footprint.
So
as
you
well.
do it for print, or you do both? Or?
I get, again, going back to your question, Zico, it depends on why you're doing the article in the first place. So if you're being asked to go down and review the sound system from a really professional point of view, critical point of view, then you're not really that bothered about how quickly you got served your drinks.
So you're literally switching hats.
You're segmenting your brain.
I hope the stream is still on.
That's probably essence.
Okay, we're almost coming to the end. I just want to keep it a little more thing now and say, okay, what are you excited about for the future? Are you looking forward to traveling?
What are you up to? What's going on? Festivals, gigs? What are we doing?
Definitely ADE again.
Okay.
Definitely ADE. It was more a recce when I went last year. This year, I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more seminars, panel talks, that sort of thing. It's so big.
Nice.
But the clubs are unbelievable. and the people and the production is out of this world.
Yeah, I mean that's a conversation I was having with somebody as well, and like I said, obviously with the internet and everything out there, but I still think just to go out and meet people and have conversations, it's still what it's about, you know.
That's exactly what it's about.
You know, so attending these seminars and things like that, you get so much of information, feedback, advice. I mean, it's amazing.
Contacts, networking, it's now just as much a part of it, because the old adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know, but also counts if you know a hell of a lot as well. So if you're able to network with people,
that's perfect. I mean, I was just listening to an RA podcast the other day where they had 3 different people from different walks, rather different angles of where they are with how they promote themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one. So there was one guy who's from America. I forget the names of everybody, and who's proper pro, go out, meet people driven. One guy was completely social media is my life. And then there was one girl who was in half, between both. And this guy from America was like, dude, just go out, meet people. Yeah, but how effective is that with the whole social media boost today, right?
it's actually a joke that everyone's totally in on, that you might know someone and speak to them online through Facebook and WhatsApp or whatever. Not so much WhatsApp, but you speak to them online for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they'll walk past you, they'll maybe bang into you in a club and not stop. I don't even know your face. It is a joke. And Dubai falls foul of it quite a lot.
I think it's a worldwide thing right now with the whole.
Sure. It's unavoidable with social media being. People are so plugged into what's right there, and that's another reason why.
Which I think now, as part of your package of being, again, going slightly off topic, part of the package is being a complete artist. You got to nail every single element, right? The social media being top, then meeting people being the second, right people in the right place, right time. Then of course
in the right way,
and then of course your music, which comes third in place. It's not it's not the other way around.
That's the hard part. I mean, you're almost like a public brand yourself, without even being a DJ.
Of course.
And social media is unfortunately
taking off to another level.
For sure.
I mean, before you can even send out your tracks for mastering, first thing you need to do is artist page, Insta, get my handle sorted out.
I see a lot of people. I mean, I'm purely quoting other people here. Maybe spend less time on your brand and more on your music, and then your tracks will be better and they might get picked up.
True. I mean, I know we're always having this debate and we're like 50-50, but I still think it's. I mean, if again, I say this all the time. We probably say this every time we have this. That obviously there is a lot of merit in terms of what you're doing. The talent is what is really important, and everything is sort of a byproduct. It will happen. But in saying that, you still have to again have the right opportunity. You have to be in the right places. And social obviously is a massive factor.
And it's a shame some people don't get the chance that they actually deserve. Instead of other people that nail their logo or go to the right after parties. It's
I mean, literally initially when I used to in Dubai, this is what I was trying to do: go to the right parties, go to the right after parties. But now I've stopped. I'm tired, and I'm like, dude, everybody knows. Everybody knows. Now I cannot do anything more.
Everyone does know you.
If somebody wants to book
good
me,
reason.
if anybody wants to book me, go ahead and book me.
But know what you do. Well, that's it. That's a brand. You've built it up, and you've got a good.
But I mean that's the whole thing. Like if you forget that initially when you were, now everybody knows you, but
what I'm trying to tell you is
you did your fair bit.
Sorry, what I'm trying to tell you is that doesn't stop, right?
No, of course not.
I don't think it stops. I think it's a continuous process of your whole making yourself a brand. It never stops. I always thought at some point, okay, I did my part. Now I can step. No, it doesn't, because then there's new people coming in and they don't know who the hell you are, right?
We need to do it in the right way. So you're not doing something that you don't believe in. It's just about you being true to yourself.
Okay, before we go off tangent again, whoever's watching, please drop us questions. So we'll take it. There's actually an audience here as well. So if you guys wanna,
There's 300 people.
they can't see on the other side.
It's a cute problem.
So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free.
The last thing before we go, I don't know if you read the RA write-up about Apparat's new album, or was it? Yes, it's album.
Okay, no, I didn't. I like Apparat.
Yeah, but check this out. RA dropped a review of his album, saying he's a genius, but the album was crap or something on that lines. Maybe from their point of view, it was a true. This is going back to being critic, right?
Yeah.
But they got bashed online. A majority of the people are saying, "Dude, what do you know?" Like, So I thought if you read it, I just wanted your views on that as to what you thought about it, because it was a proper.
It was scathing, was it? I've not read it. I need to read it.
The headline was the main line was actually quite I can't remember, but it was something on the lines of Apparat's a genius, but this is crap. Something like this.
Wow. Well, I know RA was, for a lot of people, it was almost like the Bible.
Yeah.
It was.
Was.
What trauma is now, sure. I'm also a client, so I need to it was always my go-to, and it still is for research.
Yeah.
We reference them in almost every article. So, but they kind of made the mold for modern music journalism. I would say Mix Mag, DJ Mag. I think
that was on our list of.
That was the last question. Is like between all the popular online or whatever, what would your go-to be like in terms of today? I'm not assuming what RA is today, what Mix Mag is today, what DJ Mag is today.
For me, Mix Mag and DJ Mag are a little bit more popular culture rather than counterculture. For me, Accelerator, Funk, Resident Advisor, for minimal music, Trauma.
Have you heard of this Groove? Not electronic Groove, but just Groove, the magazine, which is out of Germany. But I think it's only a German publication.
It's only in German, yeah. DJT was the editor for like 20 years.
I know when I was in Germany a few times, we had a few friends, and they swore by it. But is it still that?
I think I've never read it because I don't speak German, but I know because I used to be I'm a huge DJT fan.
Yeah.
Purely because he is one of these guys that has.
Is he still part of it?
I don't think he is anymore. But he is one of these guys that I look up to. Is amazing producer, unbelievable DJ, label.
It's been a while though since he's done anything.
It's been a while.
Unless he's got an alias that we don't know about it.
Quite possibly. I'm sure he makes DJ.
We've got a
music.
question in from Salah, a friend of ours who runs his own label and has got his own radio show. So what he wants to know is what's your view on current state of PR and media agencies not wanting to take on certain artists or labels because the artists are too niche?
Again, it depends on the agency and the PR and the artist. What I have found, not naming any agencies, they take away direct work and relationships from publications. So publications need that direct relationship with the artist and the label, but the label are intent on giving the work to the PR and the marketing companies, which they do have their place, but it kind of slows down the publications a little bit. Going back to the question, not sure. It's not something I'm going to be honest, not something I really think about too much, or have encountered that much. If there was maybe an example, is a person that gave the question able to give an example?
No, I mean the person's also said basically with the label, like why are they going after the same sort of trendy names? I mean, why even?
Okay.
You know, I think the question being like, if you've got that niche, the PR guys and the agencies don't want to pick it up. That's one thing. It's
Well,
like,
that's it. It doesn't sell. I mean,
Yeah.
it's everything.
it's all about the money.
It's all, yeah. Especially when it comes to agencies, it's all about the not always, but normally it's all about the bottom line. And when music becomes a business rather than a passion, then you need to have one finger on the pulse and one finger on the bank balance.
Sure. We've got a comment in from Karan.
No way.
So yeah,
I can't.
it's just a comment,
Yeah, of course.
and he's just talking about how RA is essentially a sellout, and it's become more of a website to sell tickets, and then jumping on sort of the journalism wagon, and they get paid to boost someone's career, blah blah blah.
Go back to the client, the
Yeah.
client publication relationship.
And he says anyone with a serious music enthusiasm knows how to be critical and can tell bullshit from the truth. So yeah, so I think there is a question now, obviously, on the credibility of the
Yeah.
content that is online, and I think we can all agree on this. Whether it's driven because it's client-based or they don't have the right people writing the right material, but we can. I think we're all agreeing on the fact that yes, there is a need for some authentic and credible people to be out there. So
So
yeah,
maybe we can sign off asking you, since there's a void over here, is that something you're looking to start up in UAE, to do your own blog or whatever, vlog or whatever?
The thought has crossed my mind.
It's nice.
It has crossed my mind. Having the experience working with Hype and Infusion, the scene is, as you know, is quite small.
Sure.
And what I think sometimes the bar scene falls foul of is that it's not very open to other genres. So it's very quite closed off when it comes to your own club night. There's only a few promoters that actively work together, and you'll normally find that it's to do with.
I think that's
music.
an interesting one. I don't know if I want to agree on the fact that there are a lot of people with trying to push, obviously, the scene being niche. I'm not getting into the genre wars. You know,
No.
yes, there's a lot of genres and people are trying to push good music out. I think one thing UAE lacks as a fraternity, I don't think we're together. You know,
No,
I think that's something that
that's
we forget the fact that yes, forget the genre wars and forget if you're better or your night was better. We forget that there's a common passion, which is the music that drives us, and at the end of the day we're working together for the scene. But I think people forget that, and the whole unity and the fraternity loses the concept of hey, we're in this together. Let's see how we can improve it. And I think people forget that.
Yeah, and even the more commercial scenes will definitely be benefited from the underground scene becoming bigger.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know if you can call it an underground scene anymore, right?
I don't
Is
think
it
so.
really underground? Now everything's
I think
underground.
somebody's got to find a sub-genre to figure out an underground now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's an underground anymore. But that's my opinion. Right? It's just yes, there's an underground. It depends on in what, like I said, what you are playing in that style. There could be I say techno because I know a little more about it. So there could be 5 techno nights. But I may go to one because I think it's a little more underground because maybe because of the feel and the vibe that they're going for or the music that they're playing. So
And I think the boys are just hitting the nail there as well, and they're just talking about yes, now what it is with your media agencies and PR agencies. They want to do the same names, the trendy names, the likes and the followers, and that's what it's all about. And even promoters. At the end of the day, listen, who doesn't want to make money, right? I mean,
look at the international. Look at the international festival scene as well. It's
oh, don't even get me started.
but it's symptomatic of booking agencies and marketing agencies cashing in on all these big room names.
Yeah.
And it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Sure. In fact, just very briefly before we go, I was also hearing another interview with John Talabot, where he was saying that all the festivals, the big festivals now are starting this whole thing about doing back-to-backs. And he's like, man, I don't even have an experience playing with this person, but
Oh, wow.
but the promoter is just like, no, just play, because they want.
But why take up that gig?
Well, that's what he's saying. He's saying sometimes I have to turn it
Because
down
he's got
because
rent to
sometimes he's taking it.
He's
Sometimes
got
he's
the
taking.
album to finish.
But there's a couple of reasons, right? One is I'm sure they're only taking it up if it's a huge festival. They're not good. But what he's trying to say.
was quite.
What he's trying to say is there's a lot more festival promoters saying do back to back because they can maybe cash in. Let's say Stu play with Adam or whatever. So we can cash in on Adam's following and Stu's following. But in the bargain, neither is he.
By the way, if anyone wants to
All right. Yeah, we can make a back-to-back happen. Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, thank you so much, Stu. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, do you
We've
guys
always
have
wanted
any
to
questions?
have this chat with
Anybody?
you. And,
Do you guys have any
back.
questions? Yes, no, maybe.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And
Done.
we'll have you back because this seems to be like an awesome topic.
Yeah, I think
talking
we could
about.
go- we
could
could
go
go
on and on and on and on.
We're
and
just
on.
like
Yeah.
everyone.
So we're gonna definitely have you back, and we'll talk a little more about your DJing maybe and producing and how that combines with your journalism. I don't know. We'll talk about it the next time. So thank you so much, and yeah, we'll have you back soon to do a slot for us. So yeah.
Amazing.
Maybe a B2B, I don't know. A B2B, that's what everybody wants. Yeah. So yeah, we're going to then continue our KS 29 sessions right now. And so you're off to...
I'm going to play my usual slot at Busala
Okay.
at the Western Hotel Minasayagi.
Yeah.
So
nice.
yeah, while you're getting ready to go see him, you can stream us. We'll be running till 10 tonight. So yeah, thank you very much.
I might come back after my set. Is that okay?
Of course.
I'll be drunker than you guys.
Alright. So thanks everybody. And stay tuned. Yeah, we're gonna start our session soon. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice one.
I don't